Hello everyone, welcome back to another haul vid. I still haven't managed to get any reviews out, I do apologise, but I have managed to get some boot fairs and get some bits, some quite good bits as well. I'll go through, like I usually do, some odds and ends first, getting on to the better bits. First of all, over the last couple of weeks I went to, like I say, a couple of boot fairs. I managed to pick up vintage Star Wars figure. Max Rebo is his name. It's a bit discoloured because he should be the same blue all over, so he should be that middle blue, but no, it's alright. Picked him up anyway, and also managed to pick up one of the mini rig vehicles as well. Now that fella there, and I believe this, I had a bit of a week where everything cost me, and you're going to hate me, 20p. So I got him, but I didn't just get him, on a kind of, well, it's not Star Wars, but spacey sort of thing. When I picked up him, I also noticed in the box an original Lego figure. I had these as a kid, and I actually passed these over to my nephews and nieces, my Lego stuff, when I moved when I was about 20. So one of the original Lego astronauts, think of the right word, John. One of the Lego astronauts they used for the Lego movie game, Spaceship, like that. So really pleased to pick him up, and of course his logo's still intact, which they always used to rub off. So really pleased to find him. So they together cost 20p, so 10p each effectively. That, as I say, 20p. So again, a brilliant find. And I also managed to pick up, at the same time as I picked up the Star Wars vehicle, from a guy who was selling off sort of all kinds of different action figure bits, and that. He's a bit of a collector, and I think he's having a cut down of his collection. In amongst some stuff, now I've added the weapon to one of them, I didn't get that with it, but I managed to find a couple of figures. I've got Baron Ironblood from the Action Force range, but again, I'll just put the other guy down, if I can get that to focus, in pretty tidy condition, and his skull and crossbones is actually still there quite nicely. I might just have to touch up the V, there's a bit of black worn off on that, but it's easy enough done. But other than that, really nice condition. And the other one, like I say, I've added the gun, but he's one I've been after. It's a Snow Serpent from the G.I. Joe Cobra line. So really pleased to find him, one I've been after. So I was quite sort of, almost like pounced on that when I saw that in amongst a whole sheet of stuff he had laid out with all kinds of action figure stuff. There was Biker Mice stuff, there was a little bit of Master of the Universe, but from the newer stuff in amongst there. All kinds of stuff, literally a bit of everything. So I hunted through for the bits what I liked and found those. Still talking bits, I managed to pick up, off of the internet, managed to pick up a Unicron head, which you'll think, well, why did you just get a head? Well, I got a head because the one I picked up from a boot fair before had the rear panel, the battery panel missing. So I managed to pick that up. I was the only bidder, so I got that cheap. Electrics all work in it, but the electrics work in the one I've got, so I just, rather than take the whole head off, which would involve taking the body apart, I've just swapped over the back panel, and now I have an almost perfect Unicron. I've still got to track down the missiles for him. I know I've got a spare set in amongst all my stuff, and then it's just the little foot for the dead end character, which I'm not too worried about that. But was very pleased to finally get the panel so I can actually light up his eyes properly. Next one for parts, I also picked up a bit of a junker, but I'm hoping that at some point I'll track down a head for him. I found a Rodimus, I think from Energon, I think it is. Body wise, if I get my words out today, it's actually pretty good. All the gold flame effect and that on the body is in really nice condition, so the lack of a head, I could transform it and have it in vehicle mode and it'd be fine. I think there could possibly be odd little bits possibly missing, I'm not sure. I haven't even had a chance to actually transform this, it shows how busy I've been doing other stuff. But I think if I'm right, these are the sort of guys what combine as well. So there is always the option that I can use this with one of the others to combine and make a bigger body anyway, as it is. But that wasn't bad, and again, that was pennies. I think that was about like 20p as well. So that was worth picking up. Another little retro thing. I actually got this from my other half, but she sort of said, "Oh, I can have it and put it with my die-cast cars when I get it." But I picked up a little tiny Snoopy van. And there's Snoopy sitting in front, and it's in pretty tidy condition. It dates from, if I can find it, the same year that I was born. It was from 1972, I think, because there are several dates on there, but that's the latest one, so I'm guessing that's when this was done. So yeah, really pleased to pick that up, and again, I think that was something like 10p, something like that. So really nice little find, a bit of an unusual little die-cast car to pick up anyway. Other parts. Now, I didn't get the whole thing. This is again something that I had the main body, but I needed a certain part. I finally got a tail for my Beast Wars Transmetal Megatron. Really pleased to finally get a tail weapon for him. He is all complete. I'm very careful when I transform him because obviously it's the old gold plastic jobby with this guy. But really pleased to finally get a tail for his T-Rex mode. Really good. So really happy with that. And again, got that really dirt cheap. So very happy. Another bit, I've got parts. I finally managed, when I was at the boot fair, now when I got the Rodimus, I actually also got a couple of other bits. I've actually finally managed to, nearly complete, apart from a couple of accessories and an odd part on one of them. But actually managed to get a Magnaboss figure sort of together. Now I have got one of the bits what goes with, can't remember the bird one's name, but where you've got the white parts what make the sword up from the wings, I have actually got one of them, but it fell down deeply into a very big box of other Transformers, so I wasn't going to fish it out just to show you this, but I managed to finally get Prowl. So I had some parts for him and he was actually missing those parts, so I got him dirt cheap as well, which was really good because of course I got home, I already had his backside weapon, his tail weapon, and I also had one of his forelegs, which again was missing as well, which was great. So a couple of little snaps later and he was complete. So at least now Magnaboss has got a face and a head, so quite pleased with that. It's a bit of a mishmash of things, but it's something a bit different, and Beast Wars line is quite fun. Anyway, putting that to one side. Now the next part I got was actually a very big part. Now at the minute he's wearing a Biker Mice from Mars helmet, which I found the other week, because I kind of thought it sort of looked better than just his little tiny head. But I finally managed to find the other half of this guy. So barring a couple of small pieces, I've actually got an Omega Supreme. Now you can see what I mean about the Biker Mice from Mars. It sort of works as his old G1 Visory sort of face. So I'll leave it on there till I can find the headmaster for this guy. Bits I'm short of, obligatory, again get me words out, obligatory yellow missiles which are short. The orange canopy part from the crane, sort of, if I find another junker I might sort that out. And I'm missing the fold out bit from his Bluefoot. Now I had the yellow bit which I'd got from a boot fair, got that cheap, or did I get that off the internet in a lot of toys, I don't know, can't remember now. But the blue part I got off the internet for 99p, simply because it was filthy dirty. No one was going to bid on it because they'd seen obviously there was missing bits. I didn't mind so much because although neither of them have got their hatches on the back, and there's also the other crossbar bit at the top here what's missing, it doesn't really detract from actually having the figure on display, so at least I got another half for it. Now I did see this guy in this sort of condition but complete once before, which I did mention I think at a boot fair, and somebody was trying to ask 20 quid for it, which is ridiculous. Like I say, this has probably ended up costing me a couple of quid, so much better. So really pleased with that, and the electronics after I fitted some batteries in they do work, so quite happy with that as well. Anyway, so finally got Omega Supreme sort of connected, and actually one of the only few Omega Supremes I've got. I'm still after a G1. Still really want to find a decent G1, but not for stupid money. Now, before we get on to the main part of Transformers, a couple of annuals I picked up as well. Now, Dave Mentz will probably like this one or hate me for it. I managed to get a 1977 Star Trek annual in really, really nice condition. It's not been cut or written in or anything. It's like new. I paid a grand sum. I think that was £1. Again, you can't really argue with that. The spine's fine, perfect all the way round. Really pleased with that. I got, on this last weekend, I managed to pick up, now again, I usually take the mick out of them, but I saw this and I thought it is in such nice condition, and for what it cost me, I got a Power Rangers annual from '97, and again, this thing is mint. It's like brand new. Nobody's even read it, I don't think. It's literally like if it just come off the shelves of a shop today. I paid 50p for that. So again, it was kind of worth it for the retro side of it. I'll probably hang on to it, but if anyone's really screaming out for it, let me know. I'll sort you out. Like I say, Power Rangers isn't quite my thing. But another thing which is very retro, and again, I've picked it up. I don't collect really the toys, although I did get Jagger not so long ago. I found also a Thundercat annual. Original price £3.25, apparently, because it was on there, although it said £3.95 inside. Again, in perfect condition, like if it's brand new. Really pleased, and again, I think, if I'm right, that was the 20p weekend, so I managed to get that for 20p. Really pleased with that. I haven't even had a chance to read it yet, so always good. Even I've had a quick flip through and a little read of the Star Trek one, and again, actually some of the stories are actually pretty good. It's along the lines of where you used to get the Action Force comics and that, but it's actually a story rather than just a few puzzles and a little few Dr. Doc things in an annual these days. Getting on to the main things. One thing I got, it was short, a couple of bits. Now I know a fellow YouTuber and a fellow one of the YouTube Facebook community guys, I believe is Choo Choo on the internet, on YouTube. He did say he had the parts and he was going to send some bits to Gary Chum, and hopefully he's remembered that to send some bits in. I did say I'll give him a shout out where he said he'd send some parts. I managed to pick up a Waspinator. Now he was in pretty dodgy condition. He didn't have his wings. I already had those as spare parts, which I've managed to pick up. But he's missing his insect legs. So Choo Choo had said that he's got those parts and he's going to send them via Gary Chum to me. So that would be wonderful. Really would be nice to complete him. He is also missing the grey panel which sort of forms the robot chest in the middle, but I can keep the bug bit connected together. It doesn't really matter. It still looks okay to me. But if anyone's got the flat panel what hinges at his waist, I would appreciate that. That would be really nice. I already had the missile as well. But really pleased to get a Waspinator. Quite enjoyed the Beast Wars line. I got past that initial thing of, oh, they're rubbish when I first saw them, and actually do quite like them now. I've seen a bit more of them. Now getting on to, again, something that was missing one part, but it was literally, again, it was so cheap it didn't matter. And there was no way of knowing when I initially got it because it was in parts. I got a Constructbot Optimus Prime with his Dino partner, which is Nor, apparently. Yeah, not bad. I mean, these things are alright as a bit of fun. He's missing one of the leg parts which forms that chest part there. But that's it. So the main Prime part's all there, but the companion part, one bit leg missing. It's nothing really that great. He was something like 50p, and that was all in its box, so not too bad. Quite happy to pay that for that. What else? Right, getting to the smaller parts before we get to the pièce de résistance. Found again, this was in the same lot as the Rodimus, and no, sorry, not the Rodimus. This was in the same lot as the G.I. Joe figures. I also managed to find, and again, this was those two figures and this, I think, were the only bits I got off him at that point, because I went back and got some other bits. But for 20p, which is what they cost, and this, I found one of the Human Alliance figures. So a Decepticon sort of soldier figure. Really pleased, because it's always nice to have the little figures what go with the Human Alliance stuff. So a nice little pickup. I also found at some of the boot fairs, I found another one of these white cat Minicom sort of things. Again, that's sort of up for somebody if they want it. I've got that one several times. But I also found a couple of bot shots. Now, I think it's supposed to be a Megatron, so it's a sort of clear green version of him. Don't know why I'm collecting bot shots, but I do. I pick them up when I see them, but again, they're so cheap, it's not worth worrying about it too much until I then realise I've probably got 100 of these things or something when I finally get sorted out. I found, which I did really like, I found Jazz. So it's more like the traditional Jazz mode, like that one, the G1. I also, actually I'll probably do with somebody's help with this one. Little black bot shot. Don't know if it's supposed to be someone like Barricade or someone like that, which would be sort of logical with the colour. Does a little car mode like that. But I don't know who that one's supposed to be, so if anyone knows, that'd be helpful. Right, getting to other little figures. I also, and again this was in that thing that was with the two G.I. Joe figures and the Human Alliance figure. I also managed to get for the same 20p a little one of the, they're sort of Micromaster combiners, but one of the little Constructicons. So really pleased to get that as well. It's a nice little thing to pick up as well. And again, for what they cost, that makes them about 5p each. It's fine with me. Then rooting around other places. Now I found, I think I may have him, but I just picked him up in a lot. Cyberverse Sentinel Prime. He's missing his bits, but again, it's not a bad little vehicle mode. So once I get sorted out again, this one of them will be up, sort of for dibs for people. I'll just find out which one's got the better markings, isn't scratched up and stuff. Well, probably both are all right, mind you. But anyway, got him. I got the Cyberverse tank version of Megatron again. I believe I've got this one. I'm not certain because I know I picked up Junkers before to try and make parts, but he's all complete and nice. So I got him, and I also got Grindor, I believe it is, which is a recolour of the Blackout Cyberverse figure. And again, he's all complete and in good nick. I got all three of those for 50p. So it's a ridiculous amount of money to pay. I also found in my travels a Cyberverse Bumblebee, but in the stealth colours. Now I don't think I've got that one, so, and it's quite nice because it is the prime sort of Bumblebee, which is a bit different from the other Cyberverse ones from the movie line. So pleased to get him. And I also found a figure. Now he's actually in his alt mode, which I have looked for. I saw in the shops and thought I'm not paying the full price for it because it didn't look enough of a figure for that sort of money. But I managed to find the Guzzle figure, which I don't know whether he's supposed to have another couple of guns because he's got a couple of ports on top, but as a tank mode it's fine, and in robot mode it's fine. But great little alt mode. Pity the turret doesn't turn, but then that's due to transformation, but really nice. I could see that being a recolour or like a Botcon one as Bludgeon. I could really see that tank mode being reused. Anyway, especially that you could do the sort of face a little bit like the skull sort of face of the main body. Anyway, getting away from that, really nice little figure though. Now, size wise again, now I picked these guys up. I saw them on the internet and I got them cheap. Now I'm not sure if they're KOs, but if they are KOs, they've tried to keep to the original colour scheme. And I got two jets. Now they're like the Cyber Jets. This one, like Jetfire, is a little bit loosey-goosey. Now I'm trying to think of the name of the line. There is a line which is like the Cyber Jets, but they recoloured. And I'm sure that they're like the recolours of those, but maybe not quite the same level of detail. So whether they're a knockoff of those. But plastic quality is pretty good, and the actual paint apps and stuff like that. So we're not talking, I don't think we're talking pound shop, but whether it was a cheaper version or whether the pictures I've seen are simply like they were the test shots and they were a bit more detailed and this is what they actually produced, I don't know. But if you know if these are knockoffs or the originals, you know, leave us a message. Still quite pleased with them though. They're very much like the Cyber Jets of the G2 sort of line, and being that one was like Jetfire, I thought I'll have him. I'm trying to think what the names were. I know on the other line that these are recolours of the, I think it was Thundercracker in the G2 and Hooligan in this sort of particular mould as well. But I still quite like them. The ball joints on the Jetfire one need a bit of work just to tighten them up, which I can do. So I'm not too worried about that. But he's pretty good, other than the fact his nose of his jet mode doesn't quite snap in quite right. So he's constantly looking up. I've tried fiddling with it, but I can't get it any better than that. But anyway, for what they cost, which was not very much at all, they're fine by me. They can go in their alt modes. They'll look fine. Another thing I picked up at the boot fair, trying to get through this as quick as I can, because it's obviously been a few weeks and I've got a few bots. I picked up another Movie Prime with his weapon. Not a bad one, and again, pretty good. Is all sort of there, which makes a nice change when you see one of these Prime figures, because there's usually bits missing off of them, little panels and stuff. So quite pleased to pick him up. Again, it's one of the sort of figures, once I'm sorted out, I'll go through, and if I end up with, well, I've got doubles, then I'll put them up for trade or sale or whatever. So possibly one of the ones will end up on that line. Another one I picked up, now this was so cheap that I just picked it up simply for the fact, well, there weren't a lot out there that other week, and I thought, well, it is a Transformer, I'll pick it up, I'll have a play around with it and see if it's any good. I actually picked it up and the guy said, oh, 20p, which I thought fair enough, and then he said, oh, by the way, there's a weapon what goes with that, and hunted around for me and actually found the sword for it. I got a One-Stepper Prime from the new movie. What's it called? I've got the poster up there. Age of Extinction. It's the sort of silvery night version. It's awful, but in another way, it's kind of got that jump startery sort of vibe where the transformation's so simple, it's funny. Unusual with the sword. I have no idea where it stores. I haven't even bothered to really look up on this too much. There is a port I've noticed on one arm, so it could be for there. And it doesn't seem to store in the port on the back of the truck mode either, but it's worth a laugh, and it's a little bit shiny. It's got a few paint apps and a weird great big handle on his backside, but yeah, what do you expect? I certainly would have been disappointed to have paid a lot of money for this in the shops. There were probably a few children who probably saw it in that mode in the box and thought, oh, wonderful, and then they got it home and they found that. Yeah, but 20p, I can't really fault it at that. That's about what it's worth. Now getting to the better toys as such. I found on the internet, being sold cheaply, maybe again one of you guys was one of the sellers, but I managed to find, and it is a KO, but it's a nice KO. I managed to find a KO of the Go Shooter Junior Headmaster of Siren. It's close enough for me to be put on the shelf and displayed as Go Shooter. Size wise is exactly the same as the G1. It's obviously been taken directly off the mould, but obviously they've done the Go Shooter details rather than the normal Siren one. Even got the helmet and the miniguns. Headmaster does actually transform as well, so fine by me. Does everything the G1 does. The only thing it's missing is a gun, which I can track that down and get a proper one for it. Really nice. The only thing I think what's wrong is where the chest is this sort of blue, which is more Siren's colour. I think it should be more this dark blue, like the bottom part of the car, which is weird that they've moulded that in the correct colour and not painted that to match. Anyway, like I say, it's good enough for me. I'm quite happy with that. I think one of the lights would have been red on the original as well, but I was under no illusions. I brought it as a knockoff anyway. But nice and cheap, very good, and sort of feels a little niche sort of part of the line for me, so I'm quite happy with that. That's the sort of one of the rarer sort of things where I'd be happier with a KO. I'm not going to pay out hundreds to get a proper Go Shooter line. Sort of like the Junior Headmaster, sorry, from the Japanese line. Another bot I brought, and I do actually need anyone's help. I have actually messaged on the YouTube Facebook page before about it, but if anybody has got the spare part, I would be eternally grateful if you've got it knocking about in your spares box. But I managed to get for a pretty reasonable price, bearing in mind that once I messaged the seller to say, oh, you sold this as complete, it's actually got a part missing, and sent pictures to show where the part was missing. He actually refunded me the whole money minus the postage. So I effectively, apart from paying postage, I got this for nothing, which was more than I was expecting. I was just expecting a bit to be knocked off, to be honest, but it's really nice of him. I got Pretender Longtooth. Now he's got his back part of his car, his main weapon, his little weapon, but the part what's missing, which is a really nice figure, I'm missing the front piece off the truck. Now there's like a little double, almost like a C-hook connector which fits there, and there's like a little, it's almost like a boat nose, it's a weird shape, but it's a little nose piece which fits on the front of the truck, which should then fold over and go onto his back when he's transformed. If anyone's got a spare one of those, I know it's sort of big ask because it is one of those sort of parts which is easily lost, and you see so many of these where they're missing that part. But if anyone's got a spare part of that knocking about in their spares box, I would be very, very grateful. I will happily buy it off of you. Other than that, I'm going to have to look out for another one of these with that part still attached. But obviously just look for the mini bot rather than paying out for the whole figure again. But like I say, for the fact that I only ended up paying postage on this, I'm really, really pleased. The guy, complete genuine seller, I left him some really good feedback simply because he didn't really need to do that. So I do appreciate that. Back to boot fairing though. From the same guy who had all the action figures, and like I say, I went back to his store a couple of times because there wasn't a great deal going on at that boot fair, so I did the circuit a couple of times. And where I went back again, I kept finding bits where he was still sorting bits out and chucking them out. Now he knew about Transformers, and he did have a couple. He had a G2 Megs, which I've got, so I didn't need to pick that up. I left that for someone else to find. Again, quite a common figure, so it's not like hugely rare, but although he knew his Transformers and he does know some of the line, where I was talking to him, he actually likes Power Rangers and he collects Power Rangers stuff. In amongst the random dross which was on a mat on the floor, I found this guy. Now he is missing one piece, it is broken off, which is quite standard for this figure, but it doesn't overly detract from the overall figure. I should point it out to you in a sec. But I managed to find, now is it, my mind, his name's gone out right out of my head. I know it's something like, is it Hellscream? Something like that. You know who he is. He's from Beast Machines. He's the annoying teenager. Really big figure. Really nice figure. He's even got his discs, although I did have I have got a spare set of the discs, which I'd already got again from another haul of parts and that which I'd got from Beast War and Beast Machines sort of parts. Very, very delicately transformed this figure, obviously, because I know he's a breaker. It's all these arm joints and bits. They are horrendous. I do it very carefully. I have transformed him a couple of times, he'll end up only just being displayed because I don't really want to push me luck with him too much. But like I say, really good. I've changed batteries, electronics work okay, but the only piece what was broken off was on one wing. There should be a piece, if I fold that one out, like that on this side there. But at the end of the day, when the wings are folded round, you can't really see that that's missing particularly, so not bad at all. He sent me back a bit more than I normally pay at Booth Fair, but he sent me back a £5. You can and ah the fact that he's got that bit missing, but you're never going to pick one up off the internet for £5, where he's this complete. And like I say, apart from that one minor part, which actually I didn't even notice for a couple of days, where I was looking at him and fiddling around and suddenly saw that there was that bit missing. Still don't care. It's still worth finding it for that money. I'm pretty sure it's Hellscream. It's something like that. Anyway. But like I say, I didn't particularly like the character in the cartoon, but I'm quite pleased to pick up his big figure anyway. Now, from the same guy the following week, because he was doing sales several weeks running, I will keep looking. Right, as soon as he turns up at the Boot Fair, as soon as I see his van, I am homing in on it, because where he's sorting stuff out from his loft apparently, anything could end up turning up, and like I say, there's a mixture of everything there. So again, if anyone's looking for something, let me know. I'll keep my eye out in case there's any bits there. I found two things off of, well, once he knew I liked Transformers, he said he had something at home and he brought it for me the next week, so I immediately brought it off of him. He'd actually kept it by for me until I turned up. But where I saw him, is this 3 weeks now? It might be 3 weeks that I've seen this guy. Where I saw him the second week, and obviously he knew that I liked Transformers and there was other bits and that, I got this off of him. Now this is a boxed GoBot. Now again, GoBots I kind of tend to take the mick out of a bit, because they were well made, brilliant figures at the time. You know, they're G1 sort of era, so you know, articulation and figure wise, even G1s suffered. But I did always sort of think GoBots was the slightly inferior, sort of like cousin to Transformers. But finding a box is a little bit rough, but not too bad. But virtually mint boxed figure of Hair Fiend, I think it's supposed to be, made by Tonka, which is a rarity as well. He sent me back, what was it? I think it was about, I think I paid about, what did I pay? I don't know if it was a £5, something like that. Which, to be brutally honest, is completely worth it for a box one. Some of his sticker sheet is still in there unused. Obviously some of the stickers were put on, so he has been opened. He's not mint in box, but the figure is perfect. The chrome is perfect. I have had it out and transformed it. Really pleased to find that. Just as a display piece, to actually find a boxed GoBot has got to be quite a rarity, especially from the Boot Fair. So really pleased to find that. And where I've looked online, nowhere near what you'd end up paying for it online, so chuffed to bits. But like I say, where I was talking to this guy and he found out that I like Transformers, and he was talking about he only had a few, and he was saying about another one he's got, and do you want me to bring it along? I thought, yeah, fair enough, because where he described it, it's one I haven't got. And lo and behold, he did bring it along, and he put it by for me. Cost me a tenner, which is more than I normally pay, but it is more, let's say, a better price than you pay on the internet. He brought along a Machine Wars Starscream, which has got all of its missiles, no accessories. This one didn't come with a firing gun like Skystalker, because this is a recolour of Skystalker from the G2 line, or G1.5, however you want to class it. His scope version on this doesn't actually work. It hasn't got the mirrored part to actually use the scope part, which I find a bit bizarre that they didn't just put the mirrored sort of piece in to work, especially seeing as this doesn't actually suffer from gold plastic syndrome. So this is a good one to pick up if you like the mould but you don't want it to fall to pieces upon you. Exactly the same mould. Some good light piping in the eyes though, and through the chest, coming through from that scope. But for the money, well worth it. He's in really nice condition. He's not all scratched up or damaged. He's still got some of his original stickers on there. Really pleased to find that. Yeah, I think that out of everything, I'm really pleased to get the other part from Mega Supreme. But I think out of all of them, he's got to be the little jewel in my pool for this full vid. I would say for this week, but it's been about 3 weeks again. I don't think there was anything else. Now again, this is the problem. I go for so long where I don't get a video out that I then think, have I missed something? I don't think I have. Just checking around. This is where it gets all a bit sad and a bit embarrassing because I'm doing this on camera. I really should think about doing this before I actually do a film. No, I think that's it. I think that's all the bits that I picked up. Something's gnawing at me that there was something over on the shelf, but no. But like I say, I shall give you a little whiz round. As you can see, it's still nowhere near getting sorted out inside the man cave, but at least Unicron up there has now got working eyes, so always nice. But yeah, you can see loads and loads and loads of stuff that needs sorting out. Just some shelves building at some point. Oh, there you go, back in focus. Yeah, I don't think there was anything else. It really does bug me because I do really think there's something else and I can't remember what it is. No, it's gone. Anyway, I think I've kept you long enough. I hope this hasn't gone on for God knows how long again, for another sort of like hour. Hopefully I'll try and get some haul vids out a little bit better. I probably won't get a chance next week. Because it's the way my hours are at work. I shall try and get one out the week after. If I can at all, I might try and get a review out this week, but I am quite busy doing bits around the house and stuff, as well as going to work. Anyway, thank you for watching, if you've made it all the way through the video. Like I say, if you're someone what needs a white cat, let me know. If you know any of the bits what I needed to comment about, or if you've got any of those parts what I need, if you've got any of those parts, please get in touch. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I shall see you again, hopefully sooner rather than later. Thanks for watching.